Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
Thank you for joining us today on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. My name is Tiffany Harkless, and I'm one of the commissioners for the Prince George's County Commission for Individuals with Disabilities. And I'm so excited and honored to be your mistress of ceremony today to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the American with Disabilities Act, also known as ADA. Before we get started though, just want to go over a couple things. First, anyone who needs to use in sign language interpreter services, please scroll down to look for the name Carrie Quigley. Her name is Carrie Quigley. When you go and find her picture, on the right right-hand corner, you'll find 3 dots. On those 3 dots, please click it and pin her video. Once you pin her video, you will receive the sign language interpreter services. Also, we'll have closed captioning services throughout today's celebration. And everyone will be placed on mute for this virtual celebration today. So please feel free to leave a comment in the chat room if you want to leave a comment, a thank you or acknowledgement. And also to let you know, any information I just shared will also be shared in the chat room. So again, thank you so much for coming out and joining us today. Again, for those who are just joining in, my name is Tiffany Harkless. I am one of the commissioners for the Prince George's County Commission for Individuals with Disabilities. We are so happy that you join us today on this beautiful Saturday afternoon. I am honored again to be your mistress of ceremony to celebrate the 30th anniversary for the American with Disabilities Act, also known as the ADA. Today, we recognize that 30 years ago, on July 26, 1990, President George H.W. Bush signed the ADA into law. This landmark legislation expanded the right and protections for millions of people with disabilities. It opened the door to housing, transportation, employment, and so much more. Help us celebrate by using hashtag ADA30. Does this mean our work is done? No, it does not. We still need to continue to work together and strive to ensure the rights for individuals with disabilities are upheld throughout this nation. How did we get to 30 years? The 1960 Civil Rights Act and Fair Housing Act at the time did not protect people with disabilities. The ADA was then modeled after the civil rights legislation to provide protection and equal opportunities for people with disabilities. 30 years ago, on July 26, 1990, President George H.W. Bush signed the ADA into law. This landmark legislation expanded the rights and protections for millions of people. So at this time, we will have our welcome by Mr. Raymond Smith. He is the chair for the Prince George's County Commission for Individuals with Disabilities, and thereafter there will be an introduction of the commission members. Mr. Raymond Smith.
Amber Woods has
Good
joined the
afternoon.
meeting.
My name is Raymond C. Smith Jr. I am the chair for the Commission with Disabilities of Prince George's County.
Marjo Lindsay Reed has left.
In 1986, the commission was birthed to actually be able to govern and help govern and supply resources and resolution for persons with disabilities in our county. And this is to do actually the main job of adhering to the needs and respect of the American Disabilities Act. I'm going to actually be in position to share with you the commissioners who are part of our team, and then I'll talk about our special committee who helped resolve.
Hey, Jonathan, can you call Evidence Tillman on the Zoom call?
They are Anthony Langdon. He's the vice chair for the commissioners. Anthony.
Can you do that now?
Who's the vice chair
Mute.
Okay, go ahead,
Currently
Mayor.
unmuted. Alt plus A button. To activate, press space bar.
Mayor Maher Kammer, Commissioner Maher Kammer, Commissioner Tony Paster Dupree, Commissioner Tiffany Harcliffe, who is our Mistress of Ceremonies, Commissioner Reverend Raymond Razor, Commissioner Veronica Steele, Commissioner Davila Steele, Commissioner Pastor Gloria Sarienga, and Commissioner Andrea Tony Dupree, Esquire. Those are the commissioners right now who are the core of our program. But I don't want to be remiss to actually identify individuals in our county who have been very successful with helping our commission. Those persons are as follows: Karen Sylvester, Teresa Grant, Valerie Douglas, Miriam Brewer, Debbie Jones, and I'll be so remiss to actually identify one of our persons who've transitioned, Patricia Sanders. And we just glorify and thank God for their commitment and all of our commitment over the years.
Alert. Diane James has joined.
As we've actually been able to formulate this group. And welcome
Sherry has joined the meeting.
to all who are involved with this commission meeting, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, and Chairman Ray. Thank you so much. At this time, we will hear from our county executive, Ms. Angela Alsobrooks. In November 2018, Angela, a proud lifelong Prince Georgian, was elected as the 8th county executive for Prince George's County and the first woman to hold the position. Her administration is committed to providing a world-class education system, safe communities, and a robust economy that creates jobs and opportunities for all and increases the commercial tax base to ensure residents are provided with the services they deserve. During her first year in office, Angela has led a government that increased educational funding, allowing reductions in class size and support for almost 5,000 pre-K students. She submitted a budget that added additional personnel to agencies and upgraded technology across the government to ensure efficient, effective service delivery to its residents. She also created the Office of Veteran Affairs, the first of its kind in the state, to ensure over 60,000 veterans receive the resources they deserve. Additionally, under her leadership, the county has continued to be the economic engine in the state, retaining its AAA bond rating and leading the state in job growth for the 5th consecutive year. Angela knew from her early age that she wanted to give back to the community that raised her and give a voice to those who might not otherwise have one. After graduating from the University of Maryland Law School, Angela began her career as a Prince George's County Assistant State's Attorney in 1997, eventually becoming the county's first full-time prosecutor assigned to handle domestic violence cases. In 2002, Angela was appointed by the county executive to serve as the education liaison, where she organized educational forums to help increase parental involvement in schools and environmental-based learning opportunities. In 2003, she was appointed the executive director for the county's Revenue Authority. Under her leadership, the agency increased by 40% through their parking enforcement program, and some of those funds were used to help the county to maintain a balanced budget during the recession. In 2010, Angela was elected to serve as the county state's attorney, becoming the youngest and first woman to be elected to the office in Prince George's County. As the county's top law enforcement official, Angela played a key role in public safety, and strive to carry out her responsibilities in a firm, fair, and consistent manner. She fought for additional resources to ensure the office could appropriately support the needs of the community. She created a truancy reduction initiative that works with schools to keep the kids on the right path, and also started a program called Back on Track. Prince George's aimed at giving the first-time, low-level, nonviolent felony drug dealers a second chance in the community. Under her leadership, prosecution rates rose across the board and remained steady during her tenure. Angela is a member of the First Baptist Church of Glenarden and Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and is involved in the effort to raise the breast awareness in her community. Angela resides in Upper Marlboro with her daughter, Alex. Our county executive, Ms. Angela Alsobrooks.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being with us today as we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the passing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. I want to acknowledge a few special guests that are here today and do important work in our county and state, including Raymond Smith, Chair of our county's Commission for Individuals with Disabilities, Ilana Balan Butler, our Director of the Department of Family Services, Teresa Grant, Division Manager for Aging and Disability Services in the Department of Family Services, and Carol Beatty, Secretary of the Maryland Department of Disabilities. Thank you for the work you do to support Prince Georgians and Marylanders living with disabilities. Throughout America's history, the fight for equality has been constant. And 30 years ago, the tireless work of so many resulted in the achievement of this landmark civil rights legislation. Because of their efforts, today more than 50 million Americans with disabilities are protected from discrimination and have equal opportunity to participate fully in American life. Here in Prince George's County, we celebrate, support, and empower over 50,000 Prince Georgians who have identified as having a disability, because the successes of Prince Georgians with disabilities greatly enhances our community. And our government's efforts to comply with the ADA is not because of policy or mandate, but because it is the right thing to do as an inclusive community. In recognition of our commitment to build an even more inclusive community, I have proclaimed July 26, 2020 as Americans with Disabilities Act Awareness Day in Prince George's County, in recognition of the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. I encourage all Prince Georgians to join me in recognizing the importance of the ADA in our community and the state of Maryland. Our support for the critical goals and ideals of the Americans with Disabilities Act is strong today, and it will continue as we go forward. Yes, we have a lot to celebrate today, but we know that more progress can be made. The work toward equality and inclusion for all is an ongoing battle. I'm reminded of a quote by civil rights activist C.T. Vivian that says, "When fighting for equality, every struggle makes a greater struggle necessary." That means progress demands that we continue to push forward. As county executive, I will continue to push for inclusion and equal opportunity. Prince George's County will always be welcoming to residents with disabilities. As we celebrate this anniversary, I'm proud to say that Prince George's County looks forward to more progress in the next 30 years and beyond. Thank you, and I truly hope you enjoy our virtual celebration.
I'd like to have a warm thank you to our county executive, Ms. Angela Alsobrooks, for her wonderful message, and also for making July 26th ADA Awareness Day in Prince George's County. So thank you, Ms. Alsobrooks. We will now hear from our speaker, Ms. Carol A. Beatty, Secretary of Disabilities, Maryland Department of Disabilities. Ms. Carol A. Beatty was sworn in as Secretary of the Maryland Department of Disabilities on March 27, 2015. Appointed by Governor Larry Hogan, Beatty was a former executive director for the ARC of Howard County, a private nonprofit organization which provides advocacy and support services for more than 750 children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, along with their families. Beatty received a Bachelor of Arts degree in Mass Communications and History from Towson University and a Master of Science degree in Special Education from Johns Hopkins University. Over the past 20 years, she has received numerous awards for her work on behalf of individuals with Disabilities, including the induction into the Howard County's Women's Hall of Fame in 2012, and selection as one of the Daily Record's 2013, 2015, and 2019 Merlin's Top 100 Women, placing her in their circle of excellence. Beatty has a physical disability as a result of having had polio as a child. She resides in Howard County with her husband, Ed, and has one son who graduated from St. Mary's College of Merlin. Now, further ado, Secretary Beatty.
Hello, I'm Carol Beatty, and I'm the Secretary of the Maryland Department of Disabilities. Thank you so much for including me as part of Prince George's County's celebration of the Americans with Disabilities Act 30th anniversary. I bring you greetings from Governor Larry Hogan, Lieutenant Governor Boyd Rutherford, the entire Hogan administration, and your friends at the Maryland Department of Disabilities. Since the passing of the ADA, we've seen incredible progress towards the ADA's ideals of full participation, equal opportunity, independent living, and economic self-sufficiency. We applaud the work of the 101st Congress in bringing this bipartisan piece of legislation to the finish line, and it gives us chills when we hear, upon the signing of the ADA, President George H.W. Bush's words, "Let the shameful wall of exclusion finally come tumbling down." A lot of good change has occurred since July 26, 1990. And for that, people with disabilities across the nation and in our state are grateful. For example, did you know that Maryland is the only state in the nation with a cabinet-level Department of Disabilities that's focused on the development and coordination of disability policy? I am very honored to have been appointed by Governor Hogan back in 2015 to lead this department as we work to change Maryland for the better for citizens with disabilities. My team works every day with a mission to promote equality of opportunity, access, and choice for Marylanders with disabilities. We partner with our sister agencies to ensure policies and programs are accessible to all. However, this celebration is not meant to simply mark our past and our progress, but it is also a time to seriously discuss our future. Many challenges still remain. I want to mention two that come right to mind. Full and meaningful employment for people with disabilities has continued to be elusive. As Secretary Scalia of the Department of Labor states, ensuring that America's workplaces continue to include and accommodate people with disabilities will be an important part of our economic rebound. Now more than ever, we must work together with state and local governments and the business sector to fully embrace the vision of the ADA that ensures that our workplaces are inclusive and accommodating for people with disabilities. Also, as we move to a digital world, Title III of the ADA, public accommodations, means much more than bricks and mortar. If we've learned anything from the current COVID crisis, we know that we've pivoted to an online world. Students, employees, family members, and neighbors have moved to learning, working, and communicating in digital spaces. We must pledge to focus on making sure that websites, apps, and other digital media are accessible to those who are blind, deaf, or have other disabilities. Recognizing the importance of online access, Governor Hogan a few years ago created the State Accessibility Coordinator position, and that person works with both our department and the Department of Information Technology to ensure that any state technology purchases of equipment, apps, websites, and programs meet stringent accessibility standards. We need to continue to work together and strive to ensure that rights of individuals with disabilities are upheld throughout our nation. The Americans with Disabilities Act only confirmed what we already know, that our state and our nation is better when we understand and honor the contributions of every person. Once again, thank you for inviting me to join in this special celebration.
Thank you, Senator Beatty, for your message this afternoon. We truly appreciate it. At this time, we will have our keynote speaker. His name is Mr. John Register. He's a Paralympic silver medalist, 2 times TEDx speaker, Army veteran, inspirational speaker from Colorado Springs, Colorado. While at the University of Arkansas on scholarship, John Register was a 4-time All-American in the NCAA long jump, 55-meter high hurdle, and 4x400 meter relay teams. After earning a degree in communications, John enlisted in the U.S. Army as a Desert Shield and Desert Storm veteran. He continued to pursue athletics, participating in the Armed World-Class Athlete Program, winning 9 gold medals in the Armed Services Competition and 2 world military championships. With these accomplishments, he seemed destined to compete as a member of the 1996 Olympic team. However, in 1994, his life would be forever altered with one misstep over the hurdle. A faulty landing resulted in a severe injury to John's left knee. Though this injury, painful medical procedures, and subsequent amputation were devastating, John refused to allow this to stop him. With his faith in Christ and the support of his wife, Alice, John began to eventually run again with the use of a prosthetic leg. During his journey to recovery, he used sports, especially swimming, as a conduit to rehabilitation. With only 18 months of rehabilitation and training, John made the 1996 Paralympic team. After this pursuit, John set his goal of competing in track and field at the 2000 Paralympic Games in Sydney, Australia, where he earned a silver medal. In 2003, he accepted a position with United States Olympic Committee, USOC, and birthed the USOC Paralympic Military Program, which uses sports to assist in the recovery of wounded service members, both active and retired. Having his life come full circle in the competitive arena, John founded Inspired Communications. As an inspirational speaker, he helps his audiences apply difficult life lessons to focus on what is possible. His engagements have included, but not limited to, the Hartford Insurance Company, Disabled Sports USA, the American Plastics Council, and the Ohio Willow Wood Company. He has been profiled by the New York Times, the Washington Post, and ESPN magazine. He has also been featured on numerous national television programs. As a volunteer, John frequently engages in peer mentor visits at military and veteran hospitals. He serves on numerous boards, and he was one of the 35 co-chairs for the 2012 re-election of President Barack Obama. When not engaged in civic activities, John treasures the time spent with his wife, Alice, and his 3 young adult children. John and Alice reside in Colorado Springs, Colorado. We will now hear from Mr. John Register.
Wow, Tiffany, thank you so much. What an amazing introduction. I'm like, who is that dude? Happy ADA, everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful time. Thank you so much for taking time on a Saturday, right? Where you can be out, well, you could be anywhere, probably inside your house with all this COVID stuff that's going on. But I hope all your families are safe and that you are, having a great time. And also thinking about this ADA, I have found it really fascinating, having been on kind of both sides of the coin. Here's what I've understood, and here's what I've come to understand about the Americans with Disabilities Act and the whole disability movement. Number one, disability is a non-discriminator. It is like the eternal equalizer for everything. Anybody can come and join this population group at any given time. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic background. It doesn't matter if you're poor, rich, status, race, gender. It doesn't matter. Anybody can join this group at any time. And I'm really a perfect example of that. So at 5:29 in the afternoon in Hays, Kansas, I was one of the fastest hurdlers on the planet, right? I'm a top 10 hurdler in the United States, top 20 in the world. I'm on the Army's world-class athlete program track and field team. I'm a Gulf War veteran. I'm on my way to officer candidate school. I'm about to do a shakeout for a race, a competition I have the next day. And at 5:30 in the afternoon, I would never run another hurdle in my life. You know, all my dreams were dashed. I'm not going to the Olympic Games anymore. I'm not going to be an officer and have a career in the military. And life can change with one wrong step. And as we're talking about the American with Disabilities Act, we see that there are those individuals who are congenital or people that are born with disabilities, and those who are acquire disabilities. And we see this all the time happening. And there is a point where people kind of come together in this moment. Those that are congenital saying, well, I really don't know if I'm disabled because I was born this way. And other people that are coming into the space that are acquired begin to find out what differences they didn't realize they had access to and the privilege that they actually had before becoming disabled. But the two meet in at one point, and that is when discrimination happens. When you find out for the first time that you are treated differently because of the way you look. And for me, it's happened twice, right? There was a point when I found out that hey, I'm African American, I'm a Black American, because I was treated differently because of the color of my skin. And there's also a point in time when I was treated differently because I became an amputee. Now, I would love it if you could allow me to share my screen, because I want to be able to do that. So I think I have the rights and access to it right now, and I'm gonna share this with you because I want you to understand kind of what was going on in this whole process about me with this one moment in time that had just come into fruition. I'm gonna get ready to do this in just 1 second here. Give me a second here, and I'm gonna try to. Hopefully I was able to garner this. Nope, not. So on this one, what happened was on the track, I went across a hurdle. I dislocated my knee. I severed the artery, and behind the kneecap, after severing the artery, I wound up becoming an amputee. So my leg was all discombobulated. It was really in a state of mess. And in this moment, you know, there are these defining moments in which we have. And for me, in this moment, which I had when I was going through at this point, was understanding what my identity was. Who am I now? What's my identity? Am I still a husband to my wife? How she's going to react to me? Am I still a father to my son? Do I still have a job in the Army? All these things were in my mind. And as I kind of begin to share this, I'm not sure if you can kind of see this screen. I'm going to pop it up here. I want just for you to look at this injury real quick of what happened. But if you're a little bit squeamish, you know what? You can look away from the camera. So here we go. Let me pop this open. Screen number 2. For some reason, it's not the screen is not coming up on my side. So I'm not gonna do it. I'll just come back to it later. So we see in this one particular moment in time that we have these situations that happen, and it takes us around and down these kind of dark paths. And in this moment, you know, I'm in my identity. My wife, she comes over, and I'm really struggling with this question. And she says to me, John, you know what? I don't know what's going on with you, but we're going to get through this together. This is just our new normal. And in the words that she spoke to me at that time, I began to, it really baselined my entire existence, because I was really out of sorts because I didn't know what the next steps would be. I was really in an uncertain time. Have you ever been in an uncertain time where you just didn't know what the next step was going to be? Well, there's a process by how we were able to kind of overcome and get out of that. For me, I was thinking that overcoming the amputation of my left leg was, if I did that, I would have my leg back. That's my adversity. I've overcome my adversity, so I would get my leg back, but that's not the case. And many times we think that getting whatever it is we lost back is back to normal. And that's not the case. We hear this term, the new normal, all the time. Most people use this term as a destination, but really it's only a plateau to grow. The new represents no prior point of reference, no prior point of reference. So if I'm always saying to myself or saying to my colleagues, I can't wait till things get back to normal. I can't wait till I get back to a sense of normalcy. I can't wait till this is over so we can return back to the way things were. We have missed the point. We have missed the growth opportunity. Normal doesn't exist because there's too much time in between the point of injury, the point of trauma, and where we are right now. And the everyday typical occurrence of a thought or an action, that is where we are in time and space. So I had to begin to push myself into a moment where I could begin to think differently about my current situation. And from there, I see John Jr., he's playing on the swings as Alice has her arms wrapped around me, talking about this new normal. He jumps off the swing set. He's 5.5 years old, and he looks back and says, "Hey, Dad, you see my big jump? You see my big jump, Dad?" And in that space, in that moment in time, I recognized that I'm still his father. He still valued me as that. And he had created his new normal, and he recognized me as his father. And that for me was something that really pushed me to say, okay, he's already done this. How do I then overcome those challenges that are in my life? And so I began to look at this with a new lens, where no prior point of reference, and normal, the everyday typical occurrence of a thought or an action. What can I do every single day to not have a destination, but only a plateau to grow? So I started swimming for physical therapy. I got so fast in the water that I actually, 27 months later, made the Paralympic swim team. And then 4 years after that, having a leg made for running, returned to the track and then won the silver medal, as you heard, in the long jump in Sydney, Australia. But it's along that pathway, along that journey, we're picking up things. We're becoming more resolved and resolute in who we are. And the critical moment, I think, for at least for me and most of the clients I talk with, is to begin to identify the fear that we have from our own life first. So the fear of, like I was saying, is my wife Alice going to stay around? Is John Jr. going to see me as his dad? Do I still have a job in the military? And then the negative thoughts or fears of other individuals, other people believing for me what I can or cannot do, which is actually based upon what they believe they could or could not do if they were in my situation. And then the societal fears. What was I listening to in society that made me think that Alice would leave or John Jr. wouldn't see me as his father anymore and I wouldn't have a job? Who told me that? Who made me believe those things in the first place? So in working with the clientele, I'm always getting them to go back to that point, because if we identify the fear, then we can identify the pathway out from it. And we believe we are in a state of rebuilding, having the platform. If we just get everything off the platform again, we can build up from there. But that's really not it, because if I would have overcome the amputation of my left leg, I'd have my leg back, as I said. So I don't get that. That time is gone. So I'm not rebuilding on that. I have to do something different, but I'm thinking in my mind, that's what I'm doing. I'm rebuilding. I'm in that point, I'm redefining who I am and who I'm showing up as, and who's this new John that's here. And because of that, in this state, I'm going to either go back to my original fears, fear of self, fear of others, and fear of the society, or I'm going to become strong enough and see other individuals on the other side of the equation. What is it in my life I want to ask myself that I need to let go of? What is it that I need to release? What is it that I need to actually amputate to embrace a new normal mindset? And from there, once I do that, whether it takes 3 minutes, 3 days, 3 years, 30 years, people just camp out there. But once you make that decision, you get a chance to understand it's not a rebuilding at all. It's actually a rebirth, because it's a new platform. It's a whole new way of looking at life. And people with disabilities, whether acquired or whether they find out that they're being treated because they have a disability, in that moment, they're beginning to redefine who they are. They're rebirthing who they are, especially if you're acquired, and understand the strength that you now have, the power that you have as a person with a disability, no matter what other people are saying about you. And in that space, in that time that I was in it, running track and field or swimming for physical therapy, I was getting stronger. And by the time I won the silver medal in the long jump, And a reporter asked me after the medal ceremony, she comes up to me and says, John, you know, I reported on you when you ran for Arkansas. I reported on you when you ran at the Olympic trials and the hurdles. Do you think with artificial limb technology, the people that you ran against and jumped against, Carl Lewis, Michael Johnson, do you think with artificial limb technology that you could actually do that again? And I thought about her question for a moment, and I said to her, I said, no, I don't think I could. But maybe your question should be, if God forbid Carl Lewis or Michael Johnson lost a limb, could they run as fast or jump as far as I do? And that's the catch up. That's where we have to get people to come to our side, to get them to see it from a different perspective. My daughter, she's about to go to law school. She was going to come out there. She wants to go to Howard University or Georgetown, right? So we're having this conversation with a person. I brought her to a group of individuals that I had a speaker colleagues. And I'm trying to teach her how to just let people sift and sit in their own kind of their ignorance. And as she was, you know, just graduating from college, a woman comes up to her during this kind of little function and says to her, "Oh, what are your plans next?" And Ashley tells her, "I plan on going to law school." "Oh, where do you want to go to school?" And she says, "Howard or Georgetown." And then she says back to Ashley, "Well, why would you want to go to Howard?" And Ashley began to articulate to her why she wanted to go to the school. And I said, Ashley, in those moments on the ride home, I said, all you had to do was say nothing and just say to her, "Well, whatever do you mean? What do you mean, why not go to Howard?" And just pause and let her sit there and have to explain in front of everybody why she think there's a difference between Georgetown and Howard. And so these are the things we can do when we come into our own power of that resolution and being resolved to bring other people along. No longer are we going to go back to what other people think about us. And that's the same thing with people with disabilities, that we have this, we can take this power instead of being given status. And that's what happens a lot when we're talking about the Americans with Disabilities Act. After 30 years, yes, we have curb cutouts, and yes, we have transportation that people can get around in on jobs now, and that's phenomenal. But we still have attitudinal barriers of people still doling out for us what they believe we should be capable of doing. A proud Howard University signer. Yes, thank you, for, Miriam. I see you on there. Awesome, love it. HBCUs all the way. So we understand that we can begin to get people to shift their vernacular and see value in people. And that's really what it's all about. So we talk about this standpoint of going from this kind of fear to freedom and bringing people along that process. And then after they've come and we share that with them, that means we can leave a legacy for them. So what does ADA look like in the next 30 years? Where will we be? Can we get rid of the attitudinal barriers? And as I heard one commenter saying, you know, now everybody's working from home, and people with disabilities have been working from home and saying that they can do telecommuting for a very long time. Maybe this is a great point to jump into that conversation. So those are my kind of quick thoughts around, you know, the American with Disabilities Act. It's an amazing time that we have. I serve on the American Association for People with Disabilities Board of Directors, on the Amputee Coalition Board of Directors, because I think it's very important that people's voices are heard and then allyship comes alongside to show the value of those with disabilities. On tomorrow, I will be doing a LinkedIn Live on my channel. It's going to be on mobility issues with the Merlin Project. And we're going to have Dr. Rory Cooper and some others talking about these issues of where we're going in the ADA as it pertains to transportation. As we've heard in the past, while people with that were African-American and that really started all the civil rights with the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments to make America do what it's supposed to do with those. And we see that people of African-American descent wanted to sit anywhere on the bus. People with disabilities wanted to get on the bus. That's a total different conversation, because now we're talking about technology and those type of things. So we're going to be talking about that on the Merlin Project tomorrow on on my LinkedIn channel. So I hope that you can just follow me there and get the feed. We'll start at 8:30 tomorrow morning, just for about an hour with some amazing content. So my mantra and my push to each one of us that are in this space, that are on this call, is to go forth and inspire your world. Go is your command, forth is your direction, inspire, that is your vocation. Because this is your DNA, this work is personal to you, and world, because this is your sphere of influence. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll turn it back over to the moderator.
Thank you so much, Mr. Register. You gave such a great inspiration message today. I think everyone can have a lot of takeaways today. I know for me, know my power, advocate for those who need assistance, be a self-awareness, sharper, shape your image. But thank you so much for those inspiring words. And I know that I'll be checking out your LinkedIn live tomorrow morning. I hope everyone else will too. But so thank you for your mantra. Go forth, everyone, and inspire your world. Thank you so much, Mr. Register, for those inspirational words. I hope everyone is still interested and enjoying the celebration so far. I just also want to share that I want to just, again, thank you for joining us on this beautiful, beautiful day. We will now hear from Miss Terrian Williams-Hall. She is the Metro Access Director for WMATA.
Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. I would like to begin by rendering thanks for the opportunity to share in this most momentous event. As you know, we're here today to recognize the anniversary of the 1990 signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act, commonly known as the ADA. Soon after that signing, the Federal Transit Administration began crafting regulations that would guide transit agencies in becoming accessible. For agencies like Metro, that meant immediately making our Metro bus and Metro rail facilities more accessible. And eventually that would introduce the Metro Access service for those who were unable to fully utilize Metro's fixed route bus and rail service. As many of you know, Metro Access is our door-to-door transportation service that supplements our fixed route bus and rail transportation systems. It is designed to get customers from where they need to go in a time equivalent to similar travel on the bus and rail systems. When the ADA was enacted, Metro Rail became fully accessible, but the Metro bus fleet was not, and the need for more accessible service became very clear. Metro Access, like other paratransit solutions across the nation, was the answer to bridge the equity gap of service. At the time, paratransit services were thought of as short-term solutions until all fixed route services could become fully accessible. That concept back in 1993 was to offer an alternative for people with disabilities so that they could have accessible transportation experiences on every single trip. However, as fixed route service became more accessible, the role of paratransit has continued to expand. As an example, Metro Access has moved from curb-to-curb service to door-to-door service, and it supports the entire Metro service area. More recently, Metro Access and other paratransit services have started offering customers more flexible, accessible alternatives to the main service, while ensuring that the main service is always available and is an essential safety net. While paratransit services continue to function as a primary part of supporting civil rights to those with disabilities, fixed route transit services are always the most affordable and convenient option. To ensure Metro's fixed route services are accessible, Metro has made tremendous investments in the following accessible features. Elevators were upgraded to make stations accessible. Gap reducers were introduced on Metro trains. Accessible parking has been added to Metro parking lots. Elevator announcements and new signage has been installed. Metro bus lifts were better maintained and eventually replaced with reliable, low-floor ramped buses. Metro bus stops at Metro stations are now all accessible, and the list goes on and on. By 2000, Metro was fully accessible and started a Metro is Accessible campaign to let people know. Since then, Metro has grown tremendously from its inaugural 30,000 trips per year. Today, more than 50,000 customers have signed up for Metro Access, and they take more than 2 million trips per year, while other customers with disabilities continue to ride accessible Metro Rail and Metro Bus to the tune of almost 4 million free Metro Bus and Metro Rail trips per year. As the community ages, more people will eventually need Metro Access services. Today, our fleet consists of 775 Metro Access vans. Soon, we'll add 175 sedans to our service offering. Finally, it is very important to note that WMATA has not reduced Metro Access service during the COVID-19 emergency. WMATA has continued to provide service for those who need it throughout the entire service area. Thank you for your time, your attention, and again, for the opportunity to share in this celebration.
Thank you, Ms. Terrian Williams Hall. We truly appreciate your time today and giving us the information regarding to Metro Access and WMATA. I've definitely had a hands-on of working with a lot of your staff at Metro Access, and we truly appreciate your services in Prince George's County. So thank you again, Ms. Williams Hall. At this time, we'll do a few highlights of our Prince George's County residents. We just want to acknowledge Prince George's County residents for their different abilities and what they've been able to achieve. There are just a few wonderful persons who are making a difference in our community. So we're going to have a few speakers for you this afternoon. So first, at this time, we will hear from Miss Melba Teller. She's a restaurateur in Prince George's County.
Hi, this is Melba Taylor, owner of Encore Associates, LLC, and president of the Maryland Association of Blind Merchants. It is indeed an honor to be recognized today on this 30th anniversary of the American with Disabilities Act. I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosa as a teenager. It is a degenerative eye condition that leads to total blindness. However, I consider myself very fortunate, very blessed, because 22 years ago, I was able to become a business owner under the Randolph-Shepard program that gives opportunities to blind and visually impaired individuals and allows them to operate their own business on federal, state, and local properties. I have operated various types of facilities, cafeterias, snack bars, concession stands. One that I am most proud of, one of my longest running contracts, has been a military contract, and that is providing food for over 1,500 meals a day, actually, to service members at the Fort Meade Army Base. My experience with the American with Disabilities Act is threefold. As an employee, I was certainly aware 30 years ago, prior to becoming a business owner, of my rights under the ADA and was able to effectively advocate for myself. As a human resources administrator, my responsibility was to ensure that the companies I worked for complied with the ADA. And certainly as a business owner, I have to ensure that I comply with the ADA and that my subcontracted employees also receive fair, equal treatment and opportunities under the ADA. So I am committed to maintaining the intent and the integrity of the ADA. Thank you so much again for this honor. God bless.
Thank you, Ms. Teller, for your wonderful message today. At this time, we will hear from Ms. Dominique Briscoe. She is a hearing loss author and coach, so others may hear. Ms. Briscoe.
Hi everyone, my name is Dominique Briscoe and I have a congenital hearing loss. I'm happy to share that I'm a hearing loss author, life coach, and activist. I currently own a company centered on providing hearing loss solutions. I first learned of American Disabilities Act from a college professor. I had already enrolled in all of my courses, but she really wanted me to take sign language because she knew that I was hearing disabled. But along the way in this course, she told me all about American Disabilities Act, and I just understood the behind it. I understood the advancement for disabled, and it just gave me an assurance. When I became a teacher, I did face some discrimination, and I was able to work smartly and overcome the issues that I faced. Presently, I'm advocating for hearing loss, particularly about captioning across media types. I'm also publishing my first book, Listen, Struggle, Repeat, which covers hearing loss coping strategies. And finally, this year, I had a chance to formulate a company called So That Others May Hear. And So That Others May Hear offers compassionate solutions to hearing disabled. Myself, I believe that there is a social gap that we experience when we have a hearing disability. And I believe that such things as online challenges, coaching sessions, and then also webinars to coach hearing disabled could be a great tools to lift up the social anxiety that's felt within the disabled population. My clients have assurance that they will be okay, that there's a law that can protect them so that they can make things happen for themselves in life.
Thank you, Ms. Briscoe, for your message today. Thank you for sharing your information. At this time, we will hear from Ms. Heather Brow. She's a 5-time gold medalist in Special Olympics in ice skating, bowling, and swimming. Ms. Heather Brow.
Hello, my name is Heather Brow. I am 25 and live in Bowie, Maryland. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you today. I want to share my story on how my life has changed because of the Americans with Disabilities Act. 30 years ago, President George H.W. Bush signed the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA. His vision and belief for equality and inclusion is a noble legacy that has changed the lives of millions and will continue to change the lives of millions of people in the future. The President said in his speech, this is not just about American rights, it's about human rights, and that's something our nation has to stand for. I was diagnosed with autism at an early age. Because of the nature of my disability, many worries were expressed by my parents and doctors. I would have coordination difficulties. I would not read or comprehend at a very high level. I would not have an intellectual vocabulary. Through hard work, perseverance, and the outstanding support in school, I graduated with honors in 2014. From an early age, I enjoyed athletics. I have always loved sports, but skills did not come naturally. At first, I focused on the activities that my siblings did, like soccer and swimming. I swam on many different teams and was a multi-gold medal winner during 5 years at the Maryland Special Olympics Summer Games. I was also a competitive bowler. At age 8, I fell in love with figure skating. Although it is not an easy sport to do, I was able to get to a high degree of difficulty in a few short years thanks to excellent coaching. Today I compete at the regional level where I have won many gold medals, including the Special Olympics Winter Games in Pennsylvania. I chose not to continue any more formal education, but went to work in the hospitality field. Today, I am employed at Beatty and Bowie's coffee shop in Annapolis. This was created by Amy Wright in 2016 to give people with disabilities the right to work. Over 120 people, like myself, are now employed with the opportunity to earn a proper living and to learn life skills. It has really changed my life. At our coffee shop, we like to say, we are not broken. In my years since realizing that I have a with disability and never once let it stop me from doing the things I love. I love to travel, go to the movies, and attend sporting events and concerts. I love going places and meeting people. Disability is not in my vocabulary, and I will continue to treat others as I would want to be treated. Please see me for who I am and what I can do. Thank you.
I don't know about anybody else, but these messages today have been so inspiring, especially Ms. Heather Brown, when she said, "We are not broken. You are not broken." I do agree with that. Up next, just so emotional right now, just some great messages, so sorry. Up next is Mr. Timothy J. Adams. He is the mayor of Bowie. We will hear from Mr. Timothy J. Adams.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Timothy Adams, and it's truly my pleasure to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the signing of the Americans with Disabilities Act. As the first African-American mayor elected to the city of Bowie in Prince George's County, Maryland, and who is also disabled, I take great pride in serving the citizens of this dynamic city by promoting an inclusive work environment and making sure that every person, regardless of race, creed, color, or disability, are afforded the same opportunities and accessibilities. These ethos not only resonate in my role as mayor, but as president and CEO of my company, Systems Application and Technologies Incorporated, which I founded more than 30 years ago. In addition to my career, I've been blessed to receive many accolades, recognitions, awards, and even an honorary doctorate from Bowie State University. Now, while these distinguished titles have afforded me many opportunities, my most important role is that of a loving husband to my wife, the Honorable Sheila R. Tillerson Adams, father of 3 beautiful children, a set of twins, Kayla and Timothy Jr., and the fond memories of my eldest daughter, the late Tiara Adams, and being a doting grandfather to my grandson, Nehemiah. My family is my main priority and the center of my universe. I'm truly blessed and know that without their guidance, love, and support, I would not be who I am today. I'm forever grateful. As a strong advocate of issues impacting persons with disabilities, and one who works hard to impart and effectuate change in our community, it's imperative we all support organizations and causes that educate and celebrate the tremendous contributions of those with disabilities. Throughout the years, I've supported many organizations and have had a chance to review the Americans with Disabilities Act to ensure that standards for our community reflect the current technologies and our needs are updated to safeguard our liberties. It's because of ADA that myself and others should be able to experience fair employment practices, adequate housing, enjoy equal physical access to all public and private spaces, and that public transportation is accessible and available. These rights and more are because of the American with Disabilities Act. It's truly been an honor reflecting on the history of ADA and the rights it has afforded millions of Americans and myself. To those with disabilities, I encourage each of you to remain fearless and not allow your disabilities to handicap our dreams. I mean, who would have ever thought or imagined that me, Tim Adams, the African-American man with a disability, would make history by being elected the first African-American mayor of the largest city in Prince George's County? Well, I did, and I believe you can too. Just know that whatever you put your mind to, you can achieve it. And one of the main things to remember with the American with Disabilities Act is that it's not the letter of the law, but the spirit of the law. Many of us count on the American with Disabilities Act to help influence and make sure that not only we have the fair opportunities that we all deserve, but also that we all are treated with the dignity and afforded the right to the personal well-being that we all deserve. Thank you so very much. And again, we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the signing of the American with Disabilities Act.
Thank you, Mayor Adams, for your wonderful message. Thank you for your dedication and support to Prince George's County as Mayor of Bowie. We thank you so much for your time today. We will now hear from our last speaker for this afternoon will be Mr. Marcus Burks. He is a musician in Prince George's County. Mr. Marcus Burks.
Marcus Emmanuel Burke. I have autism. There are two areas in particular that I can say the American Disabilities Act has given me opportunities. Number one, education, and number two, transportation. When I was in school at Bowie State University, ADA afforded me special accommodations. Thanks to Metro Access, I had reasonable accommodations in my travel to work, to school, and to other various appointments.
Thank you, Mr. Marcus Burks, for your message this afternoon, as well as the beautiful music that you played for us. Very, very beautiful. At this time, we will have closing remarks from Mr. Raymond Smith, Chairman of Prince George's County Commission for Individuals with Disabilities. Mr. Smith.
Alert.
Again, good afternoon, everyone. And Ashley, what a wonderful, incredible program. And the persons who were actually identified from our county as well as from our nation, we give a great adoration to all of them. But we also give adoration to our county executive. We give adoration to our state executives. We give adoration to all those who were involved with this American Disabilities Act for year 30. We're truly, truly blessed with what this has accounted us and afforded us in our communities. So again, great adoration, complete blessings upon us all. And may God continue to bless you all and enjoy your weekend. Thank you. God bless. The Commission of Disabilities for the Department of Disabilities in Prince George's County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. At this time, I just want to say thank you for all for joining in today. This has been such a beautiful celebration to celebrate the 30th anniversary for the Americans with Disability Act, known as the ADA. We thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you took a lot away from the speakers today, from the messages that you received. Not just was it inspiring, but just motivating to know that our work is still not done. There's so much more work to do, but we need to make sure that everyone is counted and everyone is appreciated and supported and not discriminated against. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge and thank everyone who helped out for this event today. Thank you, Ms. Karen Sylvester and Ms. Lydia Williams, for your time and support and dedication. Thank you to the Department of Family Services and the Commission for Individuals with Disabilities for today's event. We thank you for all your hard work today. Thank you to Mr. Germani Dowd for providing technical support. We truly appreciate it, sir. Also, we thank Ms. Karen Quigley for providing communication assistance for us today. Thank you so much. We also want to thank our county executive, Ms. Angela Alsobrooks, for presenting today and also making July 26th ADA Awareness Day in Prince George's County. Thank you. We also want to thank Ms. Carol Beatty, for Secretary of Disabilities, for speaking today and for a wonderful message and her undying support for individuals with disabilities. But most importantly, I want to send a special thanks to all the wonderful speakers today. Thank you so much. You've inspired us, you pushed us, and I hope everyone takes something away from everything that they said today. It's been very, very inspirational. Thank you again. But last but not least, we thank each and every person who joined us today for this wonderful 30th anniversary celebration. Help us by celebrating again by using the hashtag ADA30. Our work is not done, as we've said so many times today. We must continue to advocate for diversity, for inclusion, and equal rights for people with disabilities. Thank you and enjoy your weekend.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. Hashtag ADA30.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tiffany. Great job.
Fantastic, Tiffany.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair Smith. We appreciate you.
All right. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Smith.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you, Carrie.
Great job, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And alert.
Oh,
Thank you, Germani.
Thank you, Giovanni.
Great job.
Star 005.
What's up, everyone?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Great job.
Great job.